Okay, we're back, and I know I said 2 minutes. Be a little bit longer, though, because we're waiting on BCQD to come back from his quick AFK. So, hopefully he's not going to be too long. I'm going to have to run to be right back and take care of something, though, guys. So, after we get the game going, I'll do the intros before I ditch out for a moment, and it'll be zombie up for probably most of, if not all of this game, but then back for the rest of the cast, too. Because again, it's one more semifinals and a grand finals. 2 best of 5s remain. $420 up for grabs. First place team right now is getting $255. Second place team $127.50. So that's not a bad split. Like, even if you lose at this point, you're still getting more than like if you won a Corsair Cup, for example. In first place, you split that down the middle. That's about $125 each. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it is. I'm actually interested in why you made the all matches best of 5.
Because initially there wasn't the perfect check-ins that there were. And I didn't want a 2-hour broadcast.
That's going to be quite a long broadcast. Especially if it continues being ace matches.
Yeah, well, we're getting some good games out of it, so I personally don't mind it. But, all right, guys, it is tied up now 2-2 in this best of 5. Winner of this goes on to the finals. Spawning here on the bottom side, we've got the yellow team of Baboons, Optimus, and Soul.
On the top side has the teal Zerg, it's Nerchio. And the green Terran, Beastie Cutie.
Alright, and I am going to... Oh, man. I hit Shift-O? I was like, where did it go? Okay, it's on Zombie Group. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Alright, so ace match, and we are back to Beastie Cutie being Terran again, so I guess the Protoss really was just a one-off thing. But yeah, back and forth. The other semifinal waiting. It's also going to be a close one, I think. Amazing Gaming versus the Abusement Park. I like one name better than the other. uThermal Elazer versus Harstem Lambo. So the last Protoss also resides in there, last main Protoss, I suppose. BCQD. I mean, if they win this, then BCQD could do another race swap in the finals. That remains to be seen. Soul and Optimus putting up a really good fight. Double barracks from Optimus. Soul just with a single one, looking for more tech as he adds on that second gas. And of course it's Shadow Jungle. It's a pretty large map, very narrow though. So let's talk about it in that thermal game. There's not a lot of room to hide. It definitely takes a while for your units to get across the map, especially if they aren't Reapers. You can just hop up or hop off down here, I guess. But Optimus is still going to go for a bit of early aggression. Scout, see which opponent looks a little bit better to attack. Of course, if he attacks Nerchio, that's a little bit farther away. And they're going to have a queen at least to defend automatically. But as the Terran player, well, it's potential that they're also trying to tech up really hard, like Optimus is doing. Or that Soul is doing, rather. Not the case, though. BCQD has gone for his triple barracks to match that of Optimus. And if it is going to be Optimus versus BCQD, it's going to be almost exactly like a 1v1. 3 racks versus 3 racks. Nerchio, of course, can help. He's going for his speedlings, not roaches. And in fact, that would probably help a lot more than if he went for roaches. Roaches take a long time to respond. Looks like a tiniest little bit of support from the partner Soul. 1 Reaper at a time while he gets up to that starport. So the Nurture, I guess we'll see how much continued production there is from the Reapers, and even, of course, scouted the Reapers earlier on. Nurture's using Abathur. Well, the bulky Reapers against bulky Reapers. Who is actually winning here? BCQD is actually going up against 2 Terran opponents, even though Soul isn't adding too much to the mix. It's just enough. 1 more barracks was, well, 1 more shot, and actually this is kind of snowballed. I almost said BCQ should have raised that depot, but obviously that's not the case at all. His partner's trying to help him by sending over some lings, and really, it is only a couple of lings that are needed to help out here. There's not that many Reapers getting snowballed that badly. And now, the Nurture sent all of his lings over. That's enough to scare the Reapers entirely away. A Cyclone drop is what Soul is going to get up to. Into Banshees, it looks like. He does have a wall, but he was trying to build on location that command center. He preemptively cancels it. He might have gotten away with it. Okay, I think that Ling would have scouted it. But it looked like almost Nurture wasn't going to bother going over there. That would have been very, very weird. This is turning into very dedicated pressure. I'm saying all in quite yet, but that's a lot of Lings. Nurchi also pulling back some to deal with the drop he saw, trying to take out BC Cutie. Cyclone's not going to do as well against Lings unless they're in a very, very good position. These Lings over here are deterred. Oh, no! Optimus goes forward instead of backwards. At least tries to get the grenades off, but they don't do any damage anymore. He should have kept those alive. He should have been able to keep those alive, rather. And continue holding not only Soul's base, but his own. Now we're starting from kind of 0. We already had 3 up again. The Lings are just responding to this as quick as possible. Marines are on the way out, too. Maybe they're trying to target fire that medevac. But this is just pressure that's not going to stop. It's not doing a whole lot either, but it's like decent scouting, and it's something that just cannot be dealt with quickly. Archer's gonna maybe look to Baneling bust Soul here. He almost has a Banshee. He's waiting on Helens. He used supply blocked actually before the supply boost went down. He was waiting for the command center to finish, and now he is just gonna have no economy. All the SCVs get slaughtered. He has to lift the command center. He actually managed to save 5 of them. A very good use of a non-orbital command. The Banshee pops out, but a Banshee does a very slow job of cleaning up a Ling flood. These Cyclones are going to be temporarily halted. They did manage to cancel the command center, though. That's really nice. As Soul has to just focus on whatever he can at his home base. Probably should just cancel that Hellion. What is one Hellion really going to do against this many Lings? Oh, well, in 2020. Banshee did get over across the map, is up to 11 kills. He was all up in the main base. The natural base only just barely got a Spore Crawler, and that puts Nurture down to 7 drones. He has a lot of Lings still attacking here. Optimus heading forward, a couple of Reapers, not doing too much. In fact, nothing really at all. That was probably a mistake for him to send that limited force out. Now he's only on a couple of Marines. He has a natural command center. He has some production. But Nurchio, does he have enough to go for another Baneling bust? He doesn't! His gas is in the main. That's where he entirely took his drones off of. Even if BCQ wanted to send him some stuff. I guess he could send him gas. BCQ has gas. That might have actually been a better move. 2 Banelings can't do anything. Really needs 6. Disappointing for Nurchio to see. Oh, that one Hellion that survived. Okay. It's repaired, I guess. Or maybe even a new one. I don't remember. But the Starport might burn down. The point is, not a good sign for Nurchio to see that is actually mining. Whatever forces BCQD has is on the front line now trying to help out. The supply depot is going to go down, and the Banelings to be used on the SCVs or the Marines or whatever is available. Looks like there was going to be a drop, dealt with a Liberator in the backside. Now we can maybe just pick up whatever he could in the medevac and leave. He's got to try and snipe these Banelings, and maybe his SCVs could help out. In fact, well, I mean, I don't think he sniped them. Either way, they didn't get really good shots, but there's still that Terran force behind this. BCD cancels a building. Oh, that's still not going to be enough. A lot of the army of Optimus managed to survive behind the wall of SCVs, and it manages to clean up both armies. All of those Lings, BCD's army as well. BCD is on some mining with 23 SCVs and a single orbital command for mules. But now, Optimus is going to be on 2. He's down to 3 SCVs, though. I mean, the numbers here are kind of bewildering. I actually can't keep up with everything that's happening. Soul at 9 SCVs, Optimus at 3, BCQD at 23, Nurture at 15. So I guess technically Nurture and BCQD have the better mining. It's just off of, one base, really, for both of them. Optimus has the greater chance of coming back in this game. But that drop from BCQD did just take out, I think, the Hellion that Optimus had and a couple of Marines there. Not a bad trade. But there's the rest of Optimus's army. Killing a spawning pool. Nurture needs that.
Oh, came back just in time for a pretty nice pickoff. Well, yeah, I see that I've missed quite a bit of action this game, and I'm surprised to see Nurchio in such a tight spot, but looking at the supplies really quick, Soul and Optimus don't seem to do so much better either.
They really aren't. It's been back and forth. A Banshee managed to cut down Nurchio's economy, and that has probably really helped this mid-game. It's, 8, almost 9 minutes into the game. Otherwise, he would have been unscratched. Now loses a hatchery. Marines are going to go after the next drone line, and he has to spend 200 more minerals repairing.
Ooh. BC's about to murder what's left of Solda with the command center going down especially.
Oh, God. Yeah, not even an attempt to save that one. He has a second one, but with nothing to respond to this, looks like this might go down too.
Yeah, we just got to remove the U from Soul's name because he's SOL.
Ah, good God. Soul was desperately trying to get back into this game, had a decent economy back up and running, but no protection for his economy.
Ooh.
His main job is to control his Banshee now.
Yeah, BC's having some trouble dealing with it, but it does get picked off. Kills the tank in the process, but looks like he'll handle this. And this is looking really good for Team Salvation Army.
It's kind of coming down to Optimus and BCQD, but Nurchio obviously with a lot more potential to come back than Soul does. Soul has actually zero potential. He has no SCVs and no command center. He can be given money to produce from, I think, what is this, a barracks, and that's it.
Optimus actually has a pretty good standing army. Because look at his overall supply versus worker count. He's got more army than the rest of the other two combined. So BC and Nurchio actually do have to pull back from this. Not a fight they can take at the moment, but they will given enough time because they've got money and they've got 2v1 element going on here. Meanwhile, there's like what, the one drop up here from Optimus. BC pinging. Got a couple of links in there. From Nurchio, excuse me.
You should let Soul take care of that drop.
Yeah, just let him babysit the one and hope for the best. I mean, it's hard to say to do that, though. Nurchio is not got a lot to deal with it, but Beastie might. Yeah, he's got a lot of Marines heading over. Nurchio probably just screaming, "Save me, damn it!"
You know, by killing this base, he's really putting Nurchio down to almost the same position of Soul.
Well, so this is... Well, Nurchio's got a ton of drones, though, right? The interesting thing about this, though, is even if Nurchio were completely wiped off the game right now, 1v1, Optimus and Beastie I would put on a very similar level as far as play skill. I think Optimus maybe with a slight, ever so slight edge.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I think I'd give Optimus a little bit of an edge, but even the distraction of Nurchio still being alive is a lot to say for BCQD, so his partner is still helping him without doing much of anything.
I almost wonder if it'd be better to kind of slow bleed Nurchio to the point where like BC's sending him 50 minerals, he loses a drone. You're like, you're just kind of sucking the money out of the ally type thing.
Yeah, I wonder. He's obviously looking to just take down Nurchio entirely so that it is really a 1v1. There's no way for a comeback here for Soul. And he has to make sure that's the same case for Nurchio.
One thing that's been happening too is Nurchio, I guess, has been denying the natural base with his lings. So it's like a lot of rigmarole up here as far as like defending and trying to mine and all this, but then you combine the fact that Nurchio has been denying mining on the other side. This is so good for the top team. Yeah,
it looks like BCQD is going to be able to ride this one out to victory. Optimus is trying his best, but even a couple Marines going down and damage on that medevac is crucial. Those medevacs are pushed back. He doesn't have any pressure on Nurchio. That's Nurchio's comeback, and then that's BCQD still doing what he's been doing, which is actually getting a macro game again by lifting his main command center.
Yeah, and that's actually really funny to see. Moving his brother's friend. I was gonna say Nurchio though, with a tank and Marines to defend this, there's no longer gonna be one drop that kills Nurchio anymore, and that was the big threat. It didn't take much to kill Nurchio because Nurchio had nothing. Not responding to the main. Both players, this is such a weird situation where both players were like effectively like one basing against each other. But with this down, yeah, maybe Optimus has a bit of an edge in that regard, but overall supply still favors Beastie. Tech favors Beastie, he's got 1-1.
He also has so many tanks. It's 4 tanks to Optimus's 2. Well, I mean, Optimus, he's gonna have 2 full mining bases. If he had enough SCVs to saturate that would be really good. I mean, once he lifts his main command center over, because it's almost dry. But yeah, he doesn't have enough SCVs to really use that.
Oh, that medevac was out of the spore crawler. That's not a loss you can afford. BC though says, you know what, that's a great distraction. If the army's over there, then maybe he can push forward. But he sees siege tanks with that scan, decides to pull back. This is a problem now, because now he's starting to just let Nurchio die for nothing if that's the case.
Yeah, he might actually lose his partner for good. But it might be by winning, like, he might win the game for it. Yeah, he's going for a potential drop in the main base. Optimus desperately trying to respond, realizing that's a possibility.
I mean, the thing is, Nurchio knows there's at least 2 medevacs worth of units up here, so assuming it's been even footing, as long as he doesn't drop into tanks, these drops should have the superior numbers, but that is something easier said than done. I think this is a better drop position anyway, taking the natural, because you know both players are going to be mined out of their mains.
I love that tank drop. It almost worked out, but now they're out of position.
The SCVs get slaughtered. Optimus should not be able to take this fight if BC does this correctly. And while this goes on, Nurchio managed to seek out another hatchery.
Yeah, he had enough minerals. He had drones saved. There's still no killing this guy.
I don't know about pushing out with the Marines like this. Just denying the mining here alone is good enough. Like a hold position here to stay would be good enough.
Oh, Optimus was pretty close to defending against this too. Really hurts. I mean, Soul is at this point just a cheerleader. There's nothing for him to do. Hey man, I hope you did really well.
Well, Beast is actually going to pick up and get out of here. He crippled the economy so badly, though. So, like, it's not about how many workers were killed, it's how many are left, and it's 11.
Yeah, I mean, double mules. It's always something to account for 2 orbitals when BCD is still on 1. But that's a lot to make up for. He also lost a tank and a handful of Marines, so it wasn't just an economy for army trade there. And, yeah.
GG, well played. What a series, ladies and gentlemen. Nerdship and BC will barely take it here. With I love that this wasn't even a stomp at the end. Like, this was actually a very close finish. 2 teammates getting knocked out, coming down to a very clutch 1v1. Like, you could argue Nerdship wasn't knocked out. He had 4 supply, but, you know, he's basically knocked out, guys. All right, well, now we move on to the other semifinals, and hopefully these guys are all here and not super duper AFK. Big thank you to Ryan. He just hit us up with a 30-month resub, says Rifkin smells. That's mean, dude. Nokit Twitch subbed for Zombie Grub, calling her Grubby, and that made me confused because I'm like, Grubby's not here. Tybot 3000 came back for 12 months, says Partoof me. This is like when you get across the board with checkers and you're like, king me. Thank you for sticking with us for 12 months, dude.
Hey, for checkers.
Wait, Captain Canada hit us up with a Prime sub a little while back. That's cool to see. We've got a lot of Prime subs today. We've actually gotten so many subs today. I mentioned at the start of the stream we're down to 959 or something like that. We're back up to 983 now. You guys are awesome. Of course, if you don't know about Twitch Prime, here's that quick shout out. Well, instead of doing commercial break, we'll go to the next game immediately. Instead of commercial break, I'm just going to do the Twitch Prime spiel, guys. Because a lot of you might not realize Twitch Prime does not auto-renew if you use it on us or if you've used it on other streamers. It may have expired, and it might be available to use again. And once a month, you can sub to somebody for free. Even if it's not us, you should always remember to do it. But it's even better if it's us that you choose. But if you're like, what's Twitch Prime? What's he talking about? Well, if you use Amazon Prime, like most of the world does now, you have Twitch Prime, you just may not have set it up. If you go to twitchprime.com, it'll show you how to connect your accounts. And you get a lot of cool codes and free things for video games every single month by having Twitch Prime. You also will never see commercials on Twitch. Better part is you actually count as if you saw a commercial. So a Twitch Prime user in chat is worth money just by being here. But then there's that free sub too. So if you guys aren't following the channel, hit that follow button while you're at it. Consider checking that Twitch Prime. And we're in the map for Flooded City, just waiting on Elazer to ready up. So it's Harstem and Lambo, Protoss and Zerg versus Elazer and uThermal, Zerg and Terran. I guess I'll go make a tweet about this.
Yeah. Back seeing some Protoss. But Harstem knows the amazing strats 2v2.
Oh, I should alt F4 too, I forgot.
Before you forget, quit that game.
Quit it before you hit it. Quit it before you regret it. There you go.
Sure. That works. Okay.
I forget what the team names are here. Where are the brackets? There we go.
The Amazing Gaming.net team and the Abusement Park. I really appreciate the Abusement.
I really do. It's a funny name.
You know, there's an amusement park like very close to the DMZ in South Korea. When we like went through the highway that has like, you know, guard towers patrolling the tiny little sea that is, you can actually see North Korea on the other side. We were like, well, there can't possibly be anything fun on the other side of this, right? It's like all military. And then there's an amusement park. I mean, like, that's weird. That's what I think of when I hear an abusement park. Okay, everyone's ready to go. And we're on this really dumb map.
Really dark way to look at it, but I agree.
Hey.
It's like, I just imagine this Kim Jong-il thing like, oh, we don't have prisons. We have amusement parks. Fun.
Oh. I don't know if it's on the North Korean side, I don't think they have anything fun going on there.
All right, well, folks, it's the second semifinal. So do us a favor, if you use Twitter, hit up Twitter. Hit us up with some retweets. Give us some love with those likes. Make us feel liked, guys, because we're getting into the semifinals number 2. Spawning down here to the south, representing the employees of the abusement park. It's the combination of the blue Protoss Harstem and his teammate, the red Zerg Lambo. I forgot he's rocking Xanster's portrait.
Shit. In its opposition has the purple Terran. It's uThermal. And his partner, the teal Zerg Elazer.
AmazingGaming.net. Not a real website, but a real concept.
Is it not a real website? Have you ever tried entering that into Google Bar?
You know what? I don't want to. Because I don't want to imagine opening it up and just seeing Xanster's face blown up. And that's the whole webpage.
AmazingGames.net is a thing.
Okay.
But not amazing.
So Fo8998 says, there's still many ads even when I'm sub once to you guys, though. This was a very confusingly worded question, so I'm going to assume you're asking, are there still ads when you sub to us? And the answer to that is yes, if you're not a Prime sub. So we don't want to punish our regular subscribers. We love you guys. It's awesome. But we still need to make money through ads, thus playing commercials. We're not exactly rocking the income here, guys. So for those who have Prime, though, just by a site-wide default option, you should never see a commercial if you have Twitch Prime. And if you do, something's wrong, you should send a support ticket to the Twitch team about it.
Right. Prime. Not regular. Yeah, there's an option for other people. I guess that's sometimes where the confusion is. There's an option, but yeah, we don't use it.
Also, I guess the Prime spiel worked, because I got to give some love to Vonikalia, Nos Kiltera, these are fun names to say, Miracle Mage, thank you for having a regular name, and then Lad Norud for the 4 months, but everyone else being Prime subs. You guys are awesome supporters of the stream. Give yourselves a pat on the back.
It's been a good day.
Alright, so nobody getting cheesy, no one getting dirty, and for as weird as this map looks, with all of its water and its weird design, it's kind of still a long map. So I don't imagine there's a lot you're going to get away with in terms of like regular rushing.
Yeah, it's very deceiving because the actual map is so large, all this dead space, it makes the passable terrain, or whatever you want to call it, map look small. But if this actually fit the size of the mini-map, it probably look decent. Not large, but decent.
Well, the pylon comes down, and I guess we're going to see a weird overcharge combo with this, but there's so many lings out from Elazer, it looks like they should be handled unless one of those banelings hatches, which it should not.
You're really close. Pylon does finish, but Mothership already too late, it's already dead.
Yeah. Would have been really cool to see that combo come in versus Zerg, you just don't see it happen that often, but yeah, I think this attack has already been stopped dead in its tracks, and that Mothership Core might just need to recall.
Well,
walks away. Yo, this is the first time we're seeing 2 Zergs, by the way.
In the same game.
Yeah, it's just been tearing all over the place today.
Yeah. Well, Zerg and a Protoss is the first time, right?
That too, yeah. The only Protoss we saw was Beasties once off game, so I'm actually really curious what Harstem plans to bring to the table, because Harstem has been another guy who has competed in a lot of 2v2 tournaments in the past and was one of the dudes who explicitly asked to make one happen today.
Loves the traps, I guess. Well, he's continuing to pressure, and maybe the second time is the charm. Almost ran into the banelings, but the Terran player's doing a good job protecting Elazer's lings.
You know, one thing I'm loving, again, the difference in skins versus non-skins makes this really easy to identify whose banelings are whose, other than color, right? And I kind of love this concept where, like, shirts versus skins type thing for when you're playing team games in the future. Like, one team has to use war chest skins, the other team has to disable them or something.
So shirts is actually when you don't have skins on.
Skins versus skins.
Huh? Anyways, so that aggression didn't really work out. Harstem is feeling a bit of the burn, perhaps, but Elazer also, I guess, had to defend for so long. It's not like he's running away with the income either. It's really uThermal that's been kind of benefiting, I suppose, from that defense. He is higher in the SCV counts. He's going to have a gold base soon. Already done. In fact, he's already been mining from it. Just not really efficiently. This should be a little worrisome for Harstem and Lambo. I mean, uThermal is not so far ahead he's going to carry the game, but he was basically untouched. He didn't have to stop producing economy. This is Terran, we can do both. Whoa, what a concept. And he's also just taken advantage of the situation. He didn't over-defend for his partner. He appropriately defended.
Bailey's still trying to sneak around here. I like the cute moves out of Lambo. Oracle gets picked off too. Good defense and good deflection out of uThermal and Elazer. I actually really like, you got the queens on the one side, the spine on the other. This pretty much guarantees there'll be no sneaky banes getting to that mineral line. It has to be something committed.
Indeed. Now uThermal pushing to the front here with his partner is a little, like, I mean, that's not really where the strength of Terran does lie without those medevacs. But supporting the Lings, looking to snipe maybe some Banelings. Lambo has quite a few. Okay, but Elazer has a few as well.
And he's kind of waddle ahead of the Marines, so it's a bit awkward. They don't get to really trade out for much, and that overcharge was wonderful.
It did soak up a lot. One Baneling's going to damage the others here, but not kill them, and that is too big of a Protoss force left over. Oh, maybe. I mean, uThermal's actually rallying units here. Elazer's gone back into droning because it kind of needed to. If there weren't any Banelings, this might have been an opportunity to collapse.
I actually really like the dynamic there of the way Guardian Shield was not... Like, it was reducing the damage on the Banelings too, so they just kind of got further in off of creep than they ever normally would.
Elazer actually left maybe a little preemptively. uThermal now pulls back as well. And this time it's Harstem and Lambo that defend against the aggression. And they were able to do so pretty well. Lambo had a decent drone count. Elazer was droning during that time, so it wasn't really adding a lot of pressure besides the initial Banelings and Lings. And he's at an okay drone count too. Still actually very even game. I do think uThermal might have just been better off, well, both of them, just not going for that attack. Just waiting to fill up a couple medevacs with Sim's Marines, but his Sim is only halfway done. So even though he is filling up a drop, it's not that dangerous.
Picked off there fully and entirely. I don't want to make one of our new subs feel bad, but I gotta slap a hard dose of harsh, cold reality to you, Miracle Mage. As much as I'm sure a lot of you guys would love for the old folks to come back, Day 9 to come back to StarCraft, Husky to come back to StarCraft, you name it, they've moved on, and I think it's unfortunate that some of the fans still haven't. I'm glad that you have that passion, but just be aware, dude. The longer you hope for Husky to go back, the more you're just wasting your time.
Another aggressive attack. I mean, every time these guys attack into each other, it's like, well, the Banelings could collide really well. Well, this could be something that exactly snowballs, but like, the past two, it really hasn't been the case. This one, though, especially with the Immortal coming in here, a lot of Roaches and Marauders are left over. Lings flooding in, this might be good enough.
I love the way the Lings and the Roaches help cover for that Immortal, too. But while he does break Elazer's army, the problem is there's still a lot of Marauders and Marines from uThermal, and that Zerg wall of fodder that was here in the front lines has kind of disappeared. This attack started to lose out a lot of momentum, and they didn't get really any economic damage done for it. Elazer's still sitting happily on 54 drones between 3 bases, one of which is gold.
Yeah, but... Oh, okay. Well, I feel like they're really close to breaking him, but Elazer 3 bases and barely not broken.
I think if they had been able to do a little bit of damage to the economy, or maybe even take out the hatchery, that would have been satisfactory, but I totally understand that tap out.
Yeah. All right, so what ended up actually breaking the game was them being aggressive and not winning with it. So game number 1 goes to the defenders.
Yeah. By the way, someone says, Lone Wolf says, does Guardian Shield buff Zerg and Terran armor? Guardian Shield actually doesn't buff armor at all. What it does is anything within that bubble has its ranged attack damage reduced by 2. So you could have a billion armor, a little armor, it doesn't matter. It's always going to reduce it by 2. And I'm actually really curious because I wouldn't know if that affects... I guess it probably wouldn't affect spell damage because it probably treats a projectile like a normal attack.
Right. But it helps partners. Is that why is asking? Yeah.
It'll help. Yeah, sorry. I guess that's the other part of the question. It will always help your allies. You cannot build on creep like you can in co-op, but most things that benefit you can, like you can repair Protoss units as Terran. You can heal Zerg units with a medevac too. You can transfuse an SCV with a queen. Like, you can do a lot of stuff to benefit allies. And looks like Shrines of Lizul will be up next.
Mm-hmm. I think everyone in here is the real challenge.
And I see I don't know. People have their opinions on the old personalities, and like I've got nothing but respect for everyone who was here before us, and I don't have any like bad feelings for anyone that still clings to folks like Husky and whoever else from the time before. I will just say though, it's like there's still so many good content creators, us included in this, that it is hard to watch people not like you know, you disregard Wardy, you disregard Fear Drag, you disregard BaseTradeTV because you're hoping for this guy to come back who it's I'm sorry dude, he went to get cigarettes, okay? Your dad's not coming back, like. And I think when enough of the fan base gets over that, that's when we'll start seeing StarCraft actually maybe get some better how to say this, like hype to the fan base that's left. I think that like as long as you are wanting to hype up somebody like Husky and not wanting to hype up somebody like BaseTradeTV, then it's just like a stagnant scene, if that makes sense. And I'm not trying to single out anyone individually here. This is just an example with a conversation we're currently having.
I suppose. I mean, I always feel like it's the big chats that are like the StarCraft remastered stuff, or like when StarCraft 2 does its like, you know, huge like Blizz content like that. That's when it's annoying to see all those comments, because there are legitimately people who would only come back if Husky came back. But when I see it in like a chat like ours, it's mostly just like, I don't know, like when I say I miss Idra and I'm excited to see him come back. It's obviously not because I'm not
yeah,
a fan of everything else that's happening right now.
It's totally possible to be fans of everybody, guys. It's not like your Legion goes one way. But anyways, game number 2. Spawning here on the right and upper side of the map. They lead 1-0 from AmazingGaming.net. It's uThermal and Elazer.
In bomb position as the red Zerg, it's Lambo. And the purple Protoss, Harstem for Abusement Park.
The Abusement Park. What would be the worst ride in the Abusement Park, do you think?
Mr. Bones Wild Ride. Is that what
Really?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I was gonna say the teacups.
Well, do you know what that is? I mean, imagine you do.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So I think I named it correctly. I was never really big on this joke because I never saw the video. But someone like went in SimCity, but for amusement parks, whatever the hell that's called. You know what I'm talking about. They like made a ride that was never ending, so people would get on it, and then they would just like keep on going around and around and around, and they'd all be shouting because you could see what they were thinking when they're on the ride. Like, I want to get off Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, because that's what he named it. So it just became kind of like a, I don't know, like a thing that you say. And I don't know. I was trying to be cool. Give the kids surfing.
I don't disbelieve it. I've just never heard of it before.
It's yeah. Hopefully someone in chat laughs before I have to explain my joke.
It's like, well, I feel like it might actually be on me because it's like when you make SpongeBob memes, I'm just sitting there clueless, right? Like, but everyone else fucking loves SpongeBob.
That's true, but the problem with mine is that I'm referencing something I barely even understand, so I'm truly going like old person here. Yeah, nailed it. Anyway.
Well,
why do you don't like the teacups? Wait a minute. There's a more important part of that story to be focusing on. The teacups aren't that bad.
Oh, because if you're in the abusement park, I feel like there's probably really scalding hot tea inside them.
Oh. Yeah, that would be pretty bad. I mean, it'll come out though, right, when they spin?
I don't know.
In an abusement park, would your abusement park be that Ferris wheel that's in Disneyland?
Look, they don't know about this. Can we just let sleeping dogs lay, please? Thank you.
Okay.
Everyone knows Rifkin's a big wiener, and we don't need to like give examples.
Okay.
So Banling's out of Elazer. Nope, excuse me. Banling's out of Lambo, and Elazer gonna get his first couple of Banlings coming too. I guess that'd be okay for trading. I really I want to know what complements this better. Like that game, was it just the Protoss and the Zerg overreached too hard, or is it just simply that Terran and Zerg are a better combination? I mean, honestly, I don't know, but what we're gonna find out for sure is whose control is best when it comes to this Ling fight. Although the
Well,
Oracle
this-
helps decide that.
Yeah, this Oracle is so helpful. Of course, uThermal is going to be coming back in here after the Banelings are gone and trying to take out that unit there. And he's got Cyclones, which are much sturdier than just the Mass Marines, as the other option. It's the exact same defensive setup he had last game. And it worked.
But if the Cyclones get surrounded by Lings, they're not so hot. But the Adepts and the Lings don't quite get that combo, and Harstem and Lambo's attack falls very flat. This is bad. This is like... They cut workers a little bit to make this happen. It doesn't put them out of the game that they're so far behind, but as we can see, notably, there are less drones for Lambo, for example. Less probes for Harstem.
It feels a lot like last game, those exact scenario, where it's like, well, they're not really out of the game, but I guess this is even more dramatic because Lambo is at like literally 11 drones. Like, that's actually really bad. He was at like 18 or something last game. So they're gonna have to try again. I guess at least try and put pressure on so a laser doesn't skyrocket in drones, so Lambo can catch up. But once again, uThermal is not being touched. He's not expanding either, but he's kind of safe. He really has to come out of his base when he feels confident in doing so, which I guess is now. And it is a lot like last game. The pressure into the counter pressure into Harstem and Lambo's attempted last hurrah to a potential loss.
I don't know. I have a surprising amount of faith in the damage these Oracles can do if the Marines are removed from the equation. Like, if those Banelings hit just right, the Oracles could clean up. The one Viking's going to take way too long.
Yeah. Well, a lot of both this game and last game, I think a lot of the excitement and the danger is over these Banelings. Like, anyone uses their Banelings incorrectly, and that heavily contributes to the partner not being able to do their damage.
My god, Elazer has a lot of Banelings, though.
Oh
a
my
lot
god.
of room for error.
Yeah, almost let quite a few of them go down. But he had so many, if they were split at all, there was still some left over to help deal with the Adepts. The Oracles use up most of their energy already. And Elazer, well, okay, actually, reinforcing with more Lings. There we go. uThermal is the one that really still has a very set army. It only needs the barest amount of support to help. GG.
Well, if this does go 5 games, it's not going to take nearly as long as the other series at this rate, that's for certain. As, Harstem, that takes one to tap out. Honestly, maybe the strategy, maybe he hopes the other guys just leave because they think it's over, and you're like, haha, I won, technically. But it's been 40 minutes since our last ad break, guys, so give us a moment. We're going to hop into a quick commercial, and we'll see you for game 3, which could be the last game at this rate when we get back. Hey guys, we're back, and I just got to restart my client here in a sec after I give host. Or give some group hosts. It's the stupid mouse bug.
You're missing uThermal. Oh, it's a daisy.
What I miss is BaseTradeTV viewer games, but I understand that they're really busy now. We've done a couple of viewer games actually this past week alone, dude. So I'm sorry that you missed them. We did a bunch of mono battles the other night, and it was... I was talking about that game we played where I proxy Thored and how I hated getting the Thor for the mono battle, and then I got the Thor for the mono battle that we did that night.
You're cutting out. That's what you saw.
What? Hello, test?
Okie dokie.
Is it still cutting out?
I don't know. I'll give it a little bit.
Let's just restart this call on Discord anyways.
I just did. Hello?
Hello. Hopefully that's better.
That's literally what I like hung up and whatever.
Yeah, but you're rejoining the same call. It was still going unless we both leave. It doesn't reset the call.
I think it's done okay. But now it's extra okay.
Okay, cool. How is no commercials good when all we see is the logo and timer? You don't get annoying commercials. I don't know what to tell you. The whole idea of the commercial break is that it's supposed to be so boring that you guys would watch the commercials over our commercial break. Lament1412, thank you for the 13-month resub. Says, oh hey, I woke up and you're still here. Yay. That sounds like kind of morbid almost. You're like, oh, I'm glad you didn't die while I was asleep. Like, yeah, me too. Anyways, we are, again, at the possible last game here. It's 2-0 in the favor of Elazer and uThermal. And if they win this, they will go on to fight against Nurture and Beastie in the grand finals. Thanks to the fans and everyone involved, we've raised $425 in total, so prize payouts are still $255 for the first place team and $127 for the second place team.
Cool. Now everything's ready to go. Everything's fixed, everything's beautiful.
Everything is awesome.
And I hated that song. I like the movie a lot.
Everything is cool when you're part of a team.
And then
you just need to let it go.
Yeah, you didn't know the rest of the song. Now your tricks.
Alright, we're gonna, like we said, game 3, guys. Just get that best of 5 up there. Spawning here on the right side. Whoops, that's the wrong score. Right side of the map. We got the blue Terran players, uThermal and Elazer. Currently up 2-0.
The left side has the red Zerg. It's Lambo and Harstem.
Alright, so I think it's pretty safe to say that we're favoring these guys, but what's interesting is both games I feel have been decided by Lambo and Harstem. They go for these kind of like all-in attacks that don't really work, and then because of that, the rest of the game falls flat on them.
Yeah, the early game pressure is not really quite working out. I mean, I can see the ideas behind it. Truly, some of those combinations, like Oracles covering against a, ZVZ lane Baneling war, is a good idea. It is not quite working out. uThermal, it continues to just like come forward at the right amount of units, saves Elazer a lot of headache, and Elazer ends up benefiting more from being the defender, from actually like squeezing a couple more drones and still surviving. And uThermal just ends up benefiting from never being touched. I don't know how Lambo and Harstem are going to mix it up. It looks like they do want to try and abuse something. That's why their name's the Abusement Park, after all.
I would love if they tried to abuse the map train. Again, somebody like Harstem, the element you have on this that favors you are things like Tempest, and being able to use this range here in the middle could be absolutely devastating given the right circumstances. But at the same time, this is digging a little too deep into a 2v2 strategy that we don't know actually exists. Just a hypothetical on what you could do for what the map presents. Although, I've got a pretty good batting area average when it comes to this stuff. We talk about how players will use maps certain ways and then nobody does for 4 months, but then 5 months later, boom, Rifkin was right.
Oh, if only someone dedicated enough would go through every time you called something and ended up being right months later so you could feel like a genius. That one video.
I will say that the most validating, though, is when we talked about MMA possibly abusing Deadwing, and then like he did it as we were talking about it.
Yeah, that almost like never happens. That was back when Deadwing was first literally released. It had these broken pillars, and it was like, we always talk about these fun things that maps could or could not have, and no one ever uses them. Especially, it felt like the Koreans. Just, the Koreans are very well known for the more standard play. And then it was MMA of all people to do it immediately. Those were different times.
I miss MMA, man. Please end your army and come back to StarCraft 2. Don't go back to Brood War like everyone else.
I'd be surprised if we went back to Brood War. I don't think he was particularly involved in it. I mean, everyone in Korea played Brood War when they were younger.
But the other thing is, the MMA had like just probably some of the most success with StarCraft 2, right? Like getting the BlizzCon finals and just winning a lot of online things. There's
a lot of people that would be, they've grown in like their fame a lot because of their Brood War history. Like obviously like Flash is one of the big ones, right? When he joined StarCraft 2. MMA was ever one of those guys. Like if he comes back and he's going to do a cash grab, or he comes back because he actually enjoys the game, it's going to be for StarCraft 2. I'm pretty sure about that one. Whereas like, I don't know, like Draco, for instance, an old Brood War player. No one really knows unless you're into Brood War, but he's streaming like right now and he gets a decent number of viewers because he was, for Brood War.
No, Oracle dips in and gets some kills. Only about 4 though.
Not worth for almost dying. But hey, it's alive, so is it ever not worth if it's still alive?
It's one of those questions that gets answered later in the game. The Woodamines are not getting phenomenal hits, so lucky is that they'll clean this up with relative ease.
Yeah.
So how many drones died there? Total 1.
god, now. Rip.
Medevac going down is going to sting just a little bit, but this is the kind of thing Lambo and Harstem really need for going for them. Like, they are in quite the bind, as it were.
Right. Down 2 games, but playing defensive is working out okay for them. I mean, you gotta say okay because uThermal and Elazer aren't really contributing a lot to attacking. They're both playing a macro game. While uThermal maybe could have been a little bit greedier had he known this is how it's gonna go. I mean, it's a normal amount of Terran greed and attacking.
Okay, well, the medevac is gonna bide its time and eventually go in later, which is probably a smarter move to catch more drones once things are transferred in. As you say, a lot of time we've been seeing uThermal actually recently. He's been doing a lot of these drops, and in some cases, even going as much as wait, what is inside this medevac? This Widow Mines? Oh, that's just the new skin for the Widow Mines. I was gonna say doing drilling claws in some instances.
There's tulips inside that.
What up? But like, click on it, right? Like, what do those
No,
look
I
like?
agree with you.
Like
they look like
cyclone or
tulips.
something.
I'm not kidding.
Yo, their animation for burrowing looks really different too. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, it looks super slow.
Right? That's what I was just thinking. Like, it probably burrows at the exact same speed and there's no actual effect, but it feels so slow.
It's got chunkier burrowing arms, so it does, more, but with less, right?
We're gonna watch next time he tries to burrow something. I'm really curious about this.
Damn it, Phoenixes!
Harstem, can you quit being on the ball?
Jesus.
Dropships would say call the ball.
I'm wondering if one day, I was actually thinking about this for some reason, because someone was like, I wish there was an SUV only voice pack, because they love the country accent. And I was like, I wonder if one day there will be a voice pack with one unit, and how many people will want the medic from Brood War.
Just like the super sexy one.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather take a role-playing Kerrigan or something instead,
Role-playing Kerrigan? What do you
like get Trisha Hell for him, but instead of being like this dark brooding queen of blades, it's like, I don't know, one of the stupid skins from Heroes of the Storm, right? Like the preppy cheerleader or some shit, right? Like,
Oh god. Pass on that one.
I don't know, I'm just saying I would be more interested in something like that than the SUV for a voice pack.
I would actually really like the Ghost. I think he has a cool voice.
The Ghost does actually have a cool voice. I remember for a long time I had the "You called down the thunder, now reap the whirlwind." Like those two voices were my ringtone.
Yeah. It's got that cool voice.
Although I feel they actually, the Ghost somehow became less cool in StarCraft 2. Like as I was playing the campaign, the Brood War Ghost voice, it's not much different, but it sounds way cooler.
So I was playing the campaign too, and I got to the Ghost one, and I built a couple, and I was like, I actually really liked the StarCraft 2 Ghost more.
Interesting.
Just in general. Voice, use, spells. Yeah.
Well, some minor damage going down here, but all in all, kind of passive play, as kind of mentioned before, with Lambo and Harstem not diving head first into some all-in. They've been able to just kind of macro behind this, minor harass here and there, and I mean, their supply is looking pretty freaking good right now.
It is. I mean, Elazer's teching a bit harder. Actually, I need to gather my wits here and see what they actually are producing here. Okay, so Lambo was the one that went for infestors. Elazer's trying to get to lurkers.
Lambo's got better like upgrades and tech and like with the units, like the infestors out. No. Yeah, for sure. If Elazer had been able to buy time and get lurkers and get like a really good army, this could have been very different. But Harstem and Lambo run over this army in the middle of the map. Now there's an attack to the south out of uThermal, and Harstem's going to be the one to respond while Lambo continues to push.
Alright, so this does pull back a fairly sizable chunk of Harstem's army that gives Elazer a chance to defend against Lambo's army. It would be so much better if he had lurkers, though, and that lurker den still isn't even done.
Well, that's what comes back to the upgrades. Well, actually, he's got +2 now as well, so never mind. Looks like those finished up while the fight went on, so weapons.
Yeah, Elazer is...
Yeah, armor actually favors him. If he gets those lurkers, this is like a done deal for sure if it becomes 1v1 against Zerg vs. Zerg. But down to the south, Harstem's not doing too bad with some storms peppering on that bio army, and the Adepts mostly still living. He pushes up this ramp, and I don't know, uThermal's starting to feel a little bit shy on units. The Adept split was okay, but he still took some pretty big hits there from that Widow Mine.
uThermal needs help. Elazer needs help. I think that maybe this is just going to be the win for Lambo and Harstem.
At this rate, the snowball from Harstem alone feels like it might be too much, but Lambo is starting to be pushed back slowly. Lurker Den finished up, so we'll have a couple of Lurkers come into play here for Elazer, and he might just be able to hold the north. And that's all about what's going down here.
Okay, that Widowmine shot could have been really good. Actually, there's so many Widowmines that are still around the map and nothing to detect them. They're going to get a couple of free shots that are, I would say, very important as maybe Elazer comes to help. But Elazer thought Lambo was still attacking him. His army's out of position. As an Overseer now, soaking up the Widowmine shots, which is good. Now Elazer's gonna be... Zerg's my right, European Zergs. Elazer's gonna be coming down to choke ramp. It's not gonna work out too well for him.
Yeah, Corsair Gear don't even aim for the middle of the ramp, but he's hit the front side. I really wish we see the Immortals get involved with that Roach fight, but they do kill most of the Marauders, and it looks like they finish off the Command Center too. Nicely done. The Elazer still sits here with the best and the most supply, though, so Lambo and Harstem do have to fall back from this. But add in a couple of storms from these reinforcing Templar, and this changes everything.
Yeah. And uThermal took so much damage from that. Not just from losing the third CC, which, yeah, he probably should have lifted a lot sooner, but also in his army. He really is starting over from almost zero, and while that's easier for a bio Terran, it's still isn't very weak and not too much of a help.
Okay, so these Lurkers are going to be a real big problem. Fighting on this ramp now feels like it's out of the question. But man, I just realized the devastation that is like a fungal growth and storm combination. Oh my god.
Yeah, that'd be pretty brutal. uThermal needs to go, I think, the path of just trying to distract and drop. His army contributing to Lasers doesn't really feel like it's going to be too helpful. They're going to be broken whether it's there or not is kind of what it feels like. So dropping is going to be a better use. Maybe that brings back some of the opponent's army. Maybe it does grab a couple of bases.
Someone in chat says they want a hedonism bot voice pack. I can get down with that. Futurama, please grant the rights. I can see it now. It's like, Chauncey, more SCVs! Like...
I would be okay with that too. If some freaking odd reason, like the Matt Groening and I don't know, Mike Moore are actually the bestest of friends.
That'd be so sick,
like,
dude.
Let's do this.
I would take like a Roberto one too, right? Like,
there's a lot of voices that take in the Futurama one. Oh, is that a changeling? Oh, it's not changing well.
Well, it was his changelings. He would have been blocking
yeah,
himself
that's
out.
why I was like, nah, it's not as cool.
Yeah, that's not how changelings work. So the lurker attack though is looking very scary. Attack to the south looks like it will be deflected, but the problem is they're losing so much in the main for this.
Oh,
Blinding Cloud. I love this combination, but there's no follow through to it. Corrosive Piles don't land. Auto attacks aren't there, and the lurkers keep him back. Whoa. The Vipers are such a sick idea, but they're not working out the way I think he wanted them to.
There was a Broodlord in there too that actually got taken out by the Hydras. Elazer doing some serious work with this army despite everything saying he shouldn't be able to. uThermal is going to try once again to kill that bottom base, and Harstem hasn't been able to help out his partner this entire time.
Harstem has to hold this base because Lambo just lost the hive. Lambo needs a lot of time to recover right now.
Well,
I think it's totally doable too, but those lurkers might have something to say about it.
Did he even notice they were there? Okay, he did. But, you know, he's not a lot of DPS anymore. The Adepts are going to go after the Terran army. The Storms are really trailing behind here. The Lurkers are getting so many shots.
He's just setting up. He's losing the Templar to them, too. These three Lurkers did way too much damage.
Yeah. Oh, man, that actually would have been brutal had they lost any High Templar so bad. So he repositioned, so maybe like a couple of drones. But Elazer is gearing up to attack the other side of the map again. And uThermal, like, he doesn't have much, but he is contributing to Elazer's potential victory.
That's why I really wish Harstem had like a mothership core with this to bring that army back home in a clutch situation, right?
Yeah. uThermal has like the perfectly sized army, and the perfect type of army too, of course, it's bio with medevacs to really just be the distraction force that they needed to come back into this game.
Yeah, this looked like this was going to be such like a team abusement park win. Like they were pushing hard, they got some really good macro out of the early game, but frankly, Elazer and uThermal have devastated them back at home while still continuing to expand northward. So even though these army fights aren't working out for Elazer necessarily in terms of winning the game straight up, or uThermal down here to the bottom, the fact is they're still continuing to progress behind us, and Harstem and Lambo are still just playing defensive, constantly fending this off.
But that attack right there does make me a little bit worried. Elazer did take the bad end of that trade. He's also, of course, lost out in the upgrade wars with Lambo getting to +3. At the very least, like, actually, not at the very least, but, like, what's really good is that they cut Lambo away from any further progression. Like, the Hive going down and Vader Spire going down means that he is really just back to Roaches and Ravagers.
Someone looking the April Fool's Overlord Announcer pack. I'm just saying I would be okay with it if every action I did was...
If they could change, like, the tone, I guess I'll be on top of that. I did want to note also that uThermal has beaten Harstem in the upgrade, so some of these trades, you know, especially with only the Adepts, for instance, is going really well for him. But now both armies, once again, attacking his third.
Yeah, the fact that they get combined forces makes this the 2v1 element. And, well, granted, a ramp, a concave, a lot of Marauders should be favoring uThermal. It's just a numbers game, and he's getting overwhelmed without the assistance of Elazer. However, Elazer is straight up murdering Harstem's production on the other side of the field. This is borderline base trade territory, where the trade has already begun for one and only just started for the other two.
Elazer's going to have a very big army when all is said and done. He's taken out most of the important tech by attacking into the main base, whereas, you know, Lambo and Harstem are only just getting to the main. They might be, I mean, it's a lot of Ravagers left over, so, like, very limited production will kill that.
Well, it's been such a long, hard fight for these Marauders, but the reality is not a lot of them have died. They've actually been kiting very well through most of this.
Yeah. uThermal has definitely gone for the right composition here and kept a lot of those units alive for a long time.
Harstem got totally screwed when this goes on. He's got very little money, he's got very little mining, and almost no production. Meanwhile, Elazer pushing in to finish off the rest of Lambo's natural, on top of the fact that the main has been completely cleared out for both players.
Oh, man. I'm also, like, I feel like, besides just staying at home and taking on the army, Harstem has not gotten too many storms off. They've been sniped, they've been running into lurkers, they've been trailing behind. That splash could have been helpful in a lot of these fights.
Dude, GG. This was not just like a clean 3-0, but this last game was a well-fought, very fucking well-deserved victory out of uThermal and Elazer.
They really brought back a very, very tough game. Elazer was at no point dead. I guess that's important to note, but uThermal definitely was.
Well, that's going to finally send us into the finals, guys. Best of 5 still only, but this is where the money is in play. This is where the funds you guys helped us raise today come into effect. And it'll be Nurchio and BCQD, I had to think about that for a second, versus Elazer and uThermal. And this is that TVZ I was praying for at the start of the broadcast today even. So I'm really happy it came down to it. But big thank you and kudos to everybody who played today. Hopefully we can do more 2v2s in the future if the money's there, if the fan hype is there. We got a lot of subs today, a lot of good stuff. Make sure to hit the follow button if you haven't yet. We're still not done. Like I said, one new best of 5 coming at you after this break.